Kelly, first of all, I just want to say the entire country feels like we're holding your hands, your collective hands. I want to know just how you're doing today.
Well, I was just telling some of my family that today's a little bit, there's a little bit more of a sense of calm. I think you get to a point where your body will just physically not let you cry anymore, or at
Mm.
least all day. Still, every second is horrible, but you start to come to terms with it a little bit.
6 years ago, Bob Saget and Kelly Rizzo, a food and travel blogger from Chicago, met after connecting on Instagram. Married since 2018, friends say they had a love for the ages. I'm watching you and you're sitting in your home that you shared with Bob, and I just wondered if you're remembering all the little things, if that pops up.
Well, it's impossible here not to, but the support has been that has been the one silver lining from this is the incredible outpouring of love and support, not only from just everybody that loved Bob, but also for me and just from his friends and family. It's been, I don't know how else I'd be getting through this right now.
The number of people, Kel, who loved Bob is just, I can't even quantify. I heard someone say that Bob was an I love you guy.
He put it all out there. He told everyone that he loved. And I mean, quite frankly, anyone he met and even spent any time with at all, he told them he loved them endlessly and
Mm.
tirelessly. And that was his entire message. If you knew Bob and he loved you, you knew it. There was never, ever a doubt in your mind. I mean, even at, at his memorial, there were a lot of people there, and every single person was pretty much like, "Oh, I talked to Bob last week." I'm like,
Mm.
how did he have the time
Mm.
to talk to everybody and tell everybody that he loved them all the time? It was just amazing.
We had an interview with Mike Young, who's a comedian and dear friend of Bob's. He said something, Kel, that struck me. He said most comedians, after a stand-up gig, they catch the last flight home. He said, not Bob. Bob wanted to catch the first flight home. He wanted to be with you, Kelly, and he said that their love was perfect.
Yeah, sorry. That was what was always so special. Is every time he would be out of town, he would always try to. He would, he would work so hard, and um, he'd love to sleep in, but when he was away, he would always try to. He would still wake up at, go to bed at 2 and then wake up at 4 so he could be on the 6 a.m. flight so he could come home just so we could spend time together. So, he valued every single second that we had together. So that's why this is so heartbreaking. But at the same time, I know that every second that we had together was just maximized to the fullest, and we absolutely just there was nothing left unsaid and nothing left on the table.
Mm.
So those are the things that I'm just trying to hold on to.
I feel like everyone felt like they knew Bob because everyone
Hmm.
grew up watching him, or even young kids now were watching him again on TV. But Kel, who was the Bob Saget like at dinner when there was no audience?
It was still the same, and he just tried to make everybody feel special and happy and comfortable. And it's funny, like our dry cleaners, I always joke that he had a deeper relationship with them than he had with anybody. Like they loved him and he loved them. And his constant message was just treat everybody with kindness, because he'd gone through so much in his life and he knew how hard life could be. And so he always was just so kind and loving to everybody. And he was just, sorry, he was just the best man I've ever known in my life. And he was just so kind and so wonderful. And everybody that was in his life knew it. And even anybody that would just casually meet him was like, wow, this was a special guy.
And he was yours. And by all accounts, he was living his best life. Did you think he was feeling okay during all this time?
All I'll say is that he was very happy and he was just thrilled to be back out on the road. And he was also very sensitive, and just all the weight of everything going on in the world right now, it was just weighing very heavily on him. And that's why he felt more compelled than ever to make people laugh and bring people together. And he did it up until the very last moments.
You know, we've all lost someone in our life, and sometimes you hang on to the last text, the last conversation, the last connection. Is that Kel, the case with you?
I'm just very grateful that it was all, I love you so much. It was, I think I said, I love you dearly. And he said, I love you endlessly. And then I said, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And then, you know, it was just all love.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful, Kel. When we were seeing the images of everyone saying goodbye at the funeral, is there anything that you feel comfortable sharing about what it was like? Were you able to speak?
I don't think I'll get too much into it, but I did speak, and it was just, the whole thing, as painful as it was beautiful to be surrounded by so many people who loved him and who loved each other. I can't even verbalize the level of support. I'm so grateful for it.
One of the things that he was very passionate about was scleroderma that took his sister Gay's life. And one of the most beautiful things of this was nobody said, hey, everybody go donate to scleroderma in Bob's honor. But you know what everyone did? They donated
They
to
did it.
Bob was dedicated to finding a cure for scleroderma, an autoimmune disease that took his sister's life. The Scleroderma Research Foundation estimates that Bob raised more than $26 million for the SRF in his lifetime.
He had 3 life's works. One was his children, next was comedy, and then the SRF. He spent over 30 years tirelessly working so hard to try to find a cure for scleroderma. So that's why anything that I can do to help keep that legacy going and just help with the SRF, because it meant so much to him.
As I'm sitting here reflecting and sitting with you, is that Bob spent his life and he sort of united people just by being himself. He wasn't trying. And in his passing, he's doing it again.
I've never seen anything like this. It's unbelievable. Just the outpouring, but the consensus overall of what an amazing person he was, whether people knew him or didn't know him, because one way or another, he was in your living room since the 80s, or, you know, you went to shows. I mean, whatever it is, it was, he felt like he was everyone's, you know, dear friend. Nobody will ever be like Bob.
And I think he just kind of lived his life unafraid, which is what struck me. He found love again in his 60s. He told his friends, I love you. He was back on stage. Like, the guy was fearless. And I think that's what struck me about it. And she loved all parts of him. And even, you know, on stage, he had that, like, that raunchy side. She was like, but that was part of him. He wasn't afraid.
No, he's truthful.
Yeah, he
you
really
know?
told the truth.
It just is so moving. I hope it's comforting to her that everyone, so many people just feel so connected to him and are just missing him and loving him, and what a wonderful legacy to leave.
One of the things that's become obvious over the last couple of weeks is Bob Saget was a special guy. Kelly?
Yeah.
Also pretty special.
Amazingly special. And Bob made friendships late in life. You saw John Mayer just sobbing after Bob passed, and you just thought, like, wow. His circle kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Wow.
That was a good conversation.
We're going to hear a lot more from Kelly in the 3rd and 4th hours, including the beautiful story of how she and Bob first met. He actually pursued her, and she was like, Bob Saget wants to date me. Okay.
At the Invictus Games, displays of courage and perseverance are everywhere you look.
What they are proving to the rest of the world is that whatever you come up against, whether it's physical or mental trauma, that you can actually get through it.
Invictus, are you ready? It's a message Prince Harry hopes everyone will hear as he cheers on sick and wounded servicemen and women as they compete. Like Joel Rodriguez, a retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant. When you had your accident, a lot of people would have thought, these are the cards I'm dealt. And maybe have taken it kind of slowly through life. You did the total opposite, man.
You said cards, and that's funny because when my wife came to see me, probably a day after my surgery, she was like, are you okay? I said, well, these are the cards I have, so I have to play them. And I said, so I'm just going to do what I can to be the best person I can in this situation. and I'm still doing it. That's all we can do.
Joelle is one of hundreds of athletes from around the world empowered by the games, all supporting each other. There was one woman who came up to me yesterday, and she said something that totally struck me in my soul. She said, the Invictus Games saved my life. How does that land for you?
It feels amazing, but every single games that I go to, I hear the same thing from so many of them, and that it feels amazing that we've managed to play a part in their recovery, but it also makes me incredibly sad to know that that's how dark it was for them.
You've spoken about, obviously, mental health issues. When you put that heavy backpack down, like people are lugging stuff around, when you finally put it down, do you feel yourself like peaceful?
Yeah, I think everyone ends up feeling lighter, I think is the best way to describe it. For so many people, it's about management. Mm-hmm. You know the things that trigger you, therefore you try and stay away from that. But what I do know is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for absolutely everyone.
Everybody. I don't know if you feel the same way. The only thing I want in my life is to feel like peaceful. You've lived in the United States for 2 years.
2 years already, yeah.
Do you feel peaceful now?
I don't know how many people feel truly peaceful, you know? At times I feel massively at peace. But with everything that's going on in the world and trying to help and trying to use the platform and the influence to try and steer people to trying to help. And again, like, I think the biggest concern or the biggest issue that people wrestle with on a daily basis that does provide more anxiety for me and for them is the helplessness. We as human beings are compassionate people, but when your life becomes really hard, it can be, for some, harder to find the compassion for other people.
Yeah.
But what I've learned over the years is, certainly for myself, I find healing in helping others. And I think that's what we should really be focusing on.
I love that. You know, I feel like life happens on a random Wednesday. Like, here's an example. Some people say, oh my God, I'm going to go on a vacation. My life's going to be great.
Yeah.
And it's like exclamation points. The vacation, the graduation, the marriage, the baby, those are all up here. The other exclamation marks are down here. It's like sad things that happen, loss, divorce, whatever. Most of life is Wednesday.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the highs and it doesn't have the lows. It's just Wednesday. What's a Wednesday like for you? Random.
What's a Wednesday like? It revolves around the kids as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Like, this whole working from home stuff is not all it's cracked up to be. Certainly post-COVID, because it's really hard when your kids and you are in the same place. It's really hard to separate the work from them because they kind of overlap. So, I mean, Archie spends more time interrupting our Zoom calls than anybody else.
Does he have your personality?
But he also gets us off them as well, so that's also a nice thing.
Is he kind of like you? He's got a little bit of your thing.
What's my thing?
Your cheeky thing, that thing you do.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Yeah.
He's look, I always try and keep that. I think the cheekiness is something that keeps you alive. As I said, there's so much to be happy about in the outside world, but there's also so much to worry about. My sort of mantra now every day is, and it's a dangerous one because I need to make sure that I don't have burnout, but is trying to make the world a better place for my kids. Otherwise, what's the point in bringing kids into this world, right? It's a responsibility that I feel as a parent, that you probably feel as a parent as well, and we can't fix everything. We know that. Yeah. But what we can do is be there for each other.
You obviously made a lot of news recently. You came home to the UK. You saw your grandmother. How was that?
It was great. It was really nice to see her. Be able to see her in some element of privacy was nice. I hadn't had a chance to go back to the UK for a couple of years, apart from those 2 times, one for my grandfather's funeral and one for unveiling a statue of my mum. How did it feel being back? Being with her? Being with her, it was great. It was just so nice to see her. You know, she's on great form. She's always got a great sense of humour with me, and I'm just making sure that she's, protected and got the right people around. Well, you make her laugh. That's what she always says. Did you do it again? Yes, I did. Both Megan and I had tea with her, so it was really nice to catch up with her. And home for me now is for the time being, it's in the States, and it feels that way as well. Does it? Yeah. We've been welcomed with open arms, and it's got such a great community up in Santa Barbara. So you feel like that's home more for you? Yeah. Is that weird to say? No, but I'm sure it'll become a thing. Your grandmother's going to be 96
What's the best thing about her?
It's her sense of humor, and her ability to see the humor in so many different things. We have a really special relationship. We talk about things that she can't talk about with anybody else.
I love that.
So that's always a nice piece to it. But I think after a certain age you get bored of birthdays.
You do? You think she's bored of her 96? She won't be bored of the Jubilee, will she?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. she's had a few Jubilees now, so everyone is slightly different. But I'm sure she's looking.
Do you think you'll come?
I don't know yet. There's lots of things with security issues and everything else. So this is what I'm trying to do, trying to make it possible that I can get my kids to meet her.
March marked 2 years since Harry stepped back as a senior royal. Your family at home, do you miss them?
Yes, I think, especially over the last 2 years, for most people, have they not missed their family, right? The inability to be able to get home and see them. Of course, that's a huge part of it.
But do you miss your brother, your dad?
Look, I mean, for me, at the moment, I'm here focused on these guys and these families and giving everything I can, 120% to them, to make sure that they have the experience of a lifetime. Yeah. That's my focus here. And then when I leave here, I get back and my focus is my family, who I miss massively.
You do, I bet.
Of course I do. They're two little people,
I was thinking about a new life. Like, you got a whole restart. You have a whole new focus, a whole new nucleus. How does that land with you?
No, I think the focus is very much the same. Right?
Is it?
Yeah, certainly from my and my wife's point of view. Yeah. For the two of us, this was a life that she signed up for, and that we were committed to doing together as a couple forever. Because of the circumstances, we've now moved that life of service to the States, and we'll continue to do what we were doing before. So in that regard, nothing's changed for us. It's just a little bit more complicated to have to sort of restart. If you know what I mean.
What do you love about fatherhood?
Oh, what I love about fatherhood? All of it. The chaos, the learning, the reminder of just every element of yourself, your soul, right? When you're not a parent, you can get sucked into all sorts of different stuff, and you maybe sometimes forget who you are. And suddenly as a parent, especially now Archie at the age he's at, asking all the questions.
What does he ask?
Just those questions of the whys.
Yeah.
He's into the why stage.
Yeah.
Why this, why that, why that? And instead of just trying to, move it on, I give him the most honest answer that I can, and then it goes on and on and on until he's satisfied, and then that's it, it's done. Yeah. Otherwise it ends up with, because the world is round and that's the way that life is.
That's just the way it goes.
So, it's like, I love it. I love every part of it. I've always wanted to be a dad. I've always wanted to have my own kids, and now I've got two little people who I'm responsible for.
Do you tell them, or do you tell Archie, since he's old enough, about your mom?
Yes, yeah, very much so. I don't tell him all the stuff that happened, but certainly that this is, Grandma Diana, and we've got a couple of photos up in the house.
In these moments, do you ever feel your mom's presence?
No, for me, it's constant. It has been over the last 2 years. More so than ever before. It's almost as though she's done her bit with my brother, and now she's very much like helping me. Got him set up. Now she's helping me set up. That's what it feels like. He's got his kids. I've got my kids. The circumstances are obviously different, but no, I feel her presence in almost everything that I do now. But definitely more so in the last 2 years than ever before, without question. So. She's watching over us.
I'm sure she's proud of you.
I'm sure she is.
Prince Harry carrying on his mother's commitment to making the world a better place as he honors those who triumph.
To be able to see Joel and his family just flourish in moments like this, it means everything. But it comes back to the very simple thing, which is the power of sport. Not just physical, but the mental rehabilitation that it takes is phenomenal, but none of it would be possible without the mindset. They are proving that the impossible is entirely possible, mainly with the strength of a mindset saying, I can achieve anything. I've done this before, I'm going to do it again.
Wow.
And you know, his wife was with him. Yeah. And it's funny, he said every time the athletes saw him, they were like, "Where's Megan? Where's Megan? Where's Megan?" He was like, "Who am I?" By the time we had gotten there, she was on a plane home. Yeah. But that was also the focus. But those games, I have to say, mean the world to him.
You can see that.
He came from opening ceremony. He's going to be there for closing. He even said he was nervous about, like, what do I say at the end? He said, I'm still trying to work it out.
What a fascinating conversation. I could listen all day to that. It's interesting, like, what he said and what he didn't say.
That's what I was thinking, because it's obviously there are many issues with the family, and he was willing to share some of those issues, and a lot of it he was kind of keeping close to him. There's a lot, I think, left to unpack, and
It was interesting to also hear him say that his home is here.
Yeah.
For the time being.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, but I think he underscored it, and he himself said, I know this is going to be a big deal when I say this. Yeah. Like, this is home. He spent his whole life in London, obviously in England, and I think he knew he was going to he basically said to me, like, I'm going to make news on that.
Yeah.
Like,
that was going to make a splash.
That was going to make a splash, yeah. But by the way, he was delightful, and he was lighthearted, and he had
so were you, by the way. Yeah. It was just a fantastic, wide range.
You know, that'd make a good Making Space podcast. You should put the whole thing on there.
There you go.
Can listen, because I'd like to listen to
There's
the whole...
more.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, actually, we're going to see more of it in the next few hours.
Yeah, we're going to have some at 9, and we're going to have some at 10 o'clock. We're going to talk more about Joelle and some of the other athletes who, by the way... One guy walked up to me. He had just won a gold medal, and they give them tulips when they win. He walked up to me. He said, I just want to give you these. I said, why? He said, oh, just because I literally carried them all the way home in a Dixie cup, because that's how meaningful that is. They're giving things to anybody who walks up. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. We'll have more of that on where? Today All Day?
Today All Day.
It's everywhere.
The extended interview, noon, 6 o'clock Eastern. Yeah. Put it on your podcast.
Okay, you got it. I will. Ticket to Paradise is Julia and George's first romantic comedy together, and their 6th collaboration.
You clean up pretty good.
It's a friendship that has spanned 2 decades. When you saw the script, were you like, this is us? Like, the two of us are going to do this?
It was at the same time.
It was really simultaneous.
We both got sent the script. We both said, well, if you do it, I'll do it. You learned that to make me look bad.
You don't need my help there.
Best part about working with Julia Roberts on this movie? Go.
The money.
The duo first teamed up in Ocean's 11 back in 2001. But Julia Roberts, whose famous smile lit up the big screen with classic romantic comedies like Pretty Woman, My Best Friend's Wedding, and Notting Hill, hasn't done a rom-com in 20 years.
She's a great friend, and it's really fun to work with people that are truly good friends.
I don't like to say that we're very much alike, but we do have the same, like...
Beard.
How much time do we have here? We're going to get like 3.5 questions out.
Their chemistry radiates both on and off screen. I don't know how y'all didn't crack up through each take. Are y'all ad-libbing some of that, or is it all...
Not much.
No, we had a fair amount of ad-libbing, especially in the drunken scenes.
What was your first impression once you saw it all come together?
I remember you saying to me, though, when we saw it, and you go, you're so mean to me.
I was shocked, actually.
Really?
I had forgotten how... Some of it was kind of searing, and because I've gotten away from it and George hasn't said anything mean to me in a week, I was like...
I could do it now.
We used to be married.
The worst 19 years of my life.
We were only married for 5.
I'm counting the recovery.
I can't sit there.
Well, there are the meanie parts, which are fun to watch, and there's also the kissing part. Is it awkward to kiss your dear friend?
It is when my wife and kids come by to visit.
That was the first day they came to visit. It's like, Papa, oh, Auntie Juju. It's like, get him out, get him out.
It's really bad. What are you doing, Papa? What is that?
No, they didn't see
they were around.
Do y'all laugh when you're kissing? Is it funny?
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is like kissing your best friend. And
Well, thanks for that.
And then...
I was the 2-time sexiest man alive.
Then you go, wait, my best friend's George Clooney.
Yeah, come on,
man.
man.
Tune in a little bit, but then you just can't.
She couldn't.
Stop doing that. Oh, my God. Everybody's looking. Pull it off.
Y'all with your drunky monkey dance was a 10+.
Come on, I thought that was some good dancing. Didn't you? Those were our moves, man.
Was there any ounce of those drinks that were actually real beverages?
No.
I've never done a film with Julia that I was sober. They're like, you're going to kiss Julia.
Just leave the bottle.
Just leave the bottle.
I loved every second of that one. So, wait, his kids call you Auntie Juju. That's right.
Well, we've been friends a long time.
A long time.
She comes over to the house in Italy with the kids and stuff.
Before settling into family life, Clooney was one of Hollywood's longtime bachelors. He and his wife, Amal Clooney, recently celebrated their 8th anniversary. They tied the knot in a memorable Italian wedding in 2014 and now share twins, Ella and Alexander. Your twins are 5, right?
5, yeah.
Did I read that they are now speaking
Italian, French.
Do you speak all those languages?
No. It's a disaster. And they talk to each other in Italian when I'm talking to them. Like, what? What'd you say? So you know it's a conspiracy.
I think having kids, I mean, I have obviously kids later in life too. I've got a 5 and a 3-year-old. I get scared sometimes, if I'm being totally honest, about being my age.
You do.
And please, God, like, I want to witness that.
Yeah.
I want to see that. Do you ever have those?
No, I kind of like the idea of being sort of out of it when, like, my daughter starts to date. Papa, I want you to meet, he's a drummer in a band. I like toast. I'm okay with it.
The truth is, because we all, no matter how old we are, George being the oldest of us, they have chosen us in this moment to be their stewards and their shepherds in this life experience. I met Danny when I was ready. You met them all when you were ready. And then we call these children into our lives when we're ready to best partner with them. Sometimes I get gripped with fear of blowing it. And sometimes I've just said to my kids, like, so today, me as a mom, can we just take that off the boards because I blew it.
Well, the hard stuff was always your thing. My thing was taking out the garbage and getting things off of high shelves.
Not that high, really.
Do y'all think you'll be working together in a movie?
It's not going to happen. I've learned my lesson. No.
Meanwhile, he's put me in his contract. He can't live without me on screen. Yeah, why not?
She's also the best available, really.
Available. You're such a...
I'm such a what? It's a morning show.
Oh, my God.
Morning show. Hello.
Come on.
That was great.
Don't you?
Wait, is the movie better than that interview? Because that was hysterical.
It's all good. By the way, I said, like, they have great personalities, but the stuff in between their friendship is the best part. And just to show you how funny George is, so I asked if our whole crew could come do a picture together. And so we said, sure. Yeah. Everyone gathered around, and they snapped the picture. I think we have just a picture. Not that one, the other one. Anyway, there's a very serious picture. And then he said, let's do one more. I want everyone to laugh hysterically, okay? It's my favorite kind of picture. And so the second picture that comes up is everyone with their heads thrown back laughing, except George Clooney, who is totally, you get the idea.
I saw the
totally and completely serious.
And he was game for all of it.
But he was like, let me see the picture. Oh my God, y'all did it. Like, he's like a kid in a candy store. Anyway, it was super fun.
Their chemistry is obviously it's undeniable.
Yeah.
I hope they do more things together.
Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
And there's actually more of that interview.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's on Today All Day, coming up in the 4th hour as well, but we're going to stream a bunch of it on Today All Day as well. And you can also find Hoda's extended interview on a special bonus episode of her Making Space podcast. That podcast is out this morning. QR code on your screen right now. That QR code will take you right where you need to be.
And you guys catch the movie. It's a lot of fun. We need a rom-com. Ticket to Paradise is a great one. It's in theaters nationwide October 21st.
She's the best available.
So
and maybe next year he invites you to Italy with the kids, right? That sounded like fun.
That sounded like a fun gig there.
And welcome back. All around the world, people have been moved deeply by those powerful images of the ongoing human rights protests in Iran.
Yeah, all across that country, women and girls are risking their lives to challenge the government, marching in the streets, posting on social media, and defiantly cutting their hair or taking off their hijab.
Yeah, many of them inspired by Masha Amini, the 22-year-old who died 3 days after she was arrested by Iran's so-called morality police for allegedly wearing her hijab too loosely. I sat down here in New York with 3 women of Iranian descent who say they are compelled to help give voice to the voiceless. The Iranian women's rally cry, women, life, freedom, will not be silenced. 33-year-old Nasreen Shehi was born and raised in Iran but left 5 years ago.
40-year-old Ava Majlisi's parents are from there, and 56-year-old Nina Ansari and her family left Iran just months before the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Now, they are all speaking out for the rights of their people fighting for freedom. Nina, could you tell me what kind of courage, what kind of bravery does it take for one of these young women to go out on the street and protest?
It takes a tremendous amount of courage, resilience, and it just shows the depth of desperation on the part of the Iranian population. This is the culmination of 43 years of a regime whose legacy to date has been one of egregious human rights violations.
Mahsa Amini's death did something that nothing else has done before. What do you think it was, Nasreen, about her death that caused this incredible wave that we're seeing?
We had this kind of movement before, but unfortunately these young people, they didn't have that much social media to share the reality. Women don't want this regime.
What's going on in Iran now is unprecedented, and it's been brewing, like Nasreen said, for a long time. But what's happened now is the younger generation is joining in the protest. This is something that had not happened before.
Ava, your parents are from Iran. What emotions go through you as you're watching these girls out there on the streets?
I was 13 going on 14 the last time I visited, and I was close to the same age as some of these young girls, these teenagers who are out there fighting for their most basic rights. That courage, that bravery, I don't know if I could have mustered that as a young girl.
There is an image that struck me, and it was of young girls. They must have been in high school, and they had their hijabs off, and they were shouting down some guy who was clearly an Iranian official at a podium.
These young girls are the faces of courage. I don't think I would be able to do that at that age, would you? I honestly, I'm in awe of them, and I wish I had their courage at that age. But it just goes to show you they're messing with the wrong generation. This generation is not going to back down.
And there are tremendous risks to them. Arrest, torture, killing. But they're still out there.
Nasreen, there's something about, to me, the images of the women with the shears cutting their hair, just grabbing a lock of it in their hand and cutting it. What are they telling us in that moment?
That's a protest. Like, they take your life away because of your hair. Like, because of your hair. It's not just about women in Iran doing that.
No.
Other women all over the world, they're joining to this kind of movement to cut their hair. And they say, we are with you.
When you look back at Iran back in the 70s, before it became the Islamic Republic, you could have mistaken pictures in Iran for pictures in Europe.
And I was there right until the cusp of the revolution. So when you were walking through the streets of Tehran, the capital city, you honestly felt like you were walking in Paris. You would see women in both modern dress and also the hijab or the headscarf. It's really unfortunate where we were and where we've ended up.
Tell me when you felt your lowest watching what's happening.
I think when you see images of the morality police beating up young children. And as a mother, I literally want to fly there and hug these children. Sorry. It's just very difficult to watch. And it's even more difficult to watch that this regime is getting away with this. And no one is stopping them. No one is stopping them.
How about for you, Nasreen?
The same. Wish I was there.
You were.
At least I could go to the street.
I'm sorry, you wish you were there?
Yeah. Wish
Because
I could.
we feel so helpless here.
So you want to be on the streets?
Yeah. And you know what? At least I could die. But I knew what I'm dying for.
You know, Iranian civil society has reached the end of their road.
This is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the boiling point.
There's no going back, and you can feel it this time. So you're talking about a piece of cloth, all right, or a piece of clothing that today has led to a revolution.
But none of this is really surprising for us, I would think. When I was 13, going on 14, visiting Iran, about 2 inches of my leg was showing, unbeknownst to me. And someone approached me and said, you'd better cover up. It was crazy to me. But I did what I was told and, you know, pulled down my coat and pulled up my sock.
Nasreen, you're a cartoonist. You're using your voice in a way, you're putting pen to paper. Wow, these are some very powerful images. This one is especially powerful to me.
I draw Mahsa Amini's face and I show a woman coming from out of her hair and fighting with Morali police. And she closed her eyes, but she has victory smile. Mahsa Amini is our symbol right now.
And we should point out, we keep seeing women on the streets. The men are out there cheering them on. I was asking them, I said, is this just like a woman thing? And the guys are like, you do you. They're all out on the street, too. And I like that soundbite where she said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Yeah. It's too late. You've messed, like, you know, with the wrong generation.
All three of them feel like this is not just a moment. It's
no, they feel like there's no, how can you go back after this? Now what do you say? And keep in mind, they have the highest education rate in Iran, okay? I think there's a 97% literacy rate. Those kids that you're seeing, college, high school, like STEM, they're out there. So again, talk about, you know, what they said, messing with the wrong generation. I think they're right.
Well, we've seen uprisings before, and we'll see how this turns out. It's also a terrifying moment because the government has every incentive to crack down brutally, and we've seen that
every day.
But thank you for sharing those stories.
A prolific songwriter with an unforgettable voice, Dolly Parton has provided the soundtrack for so many of our lives. A living legend all year round, but Christmas is the one time she shines especially bright. It's your season. Christmas is here. So, question first, is your Christmas tree up?
Oh, of course. My Christmas tree was up before Thanksgiving.
Dolly's holiday cheer evident in Dolly Parton's Mountain Magic Christmas, her new movie musical about the making of a network TV special.
It's like a show within a show, because I think people are real interested in knowing what goes on behind the scenes. It's a lot of drama, it's a lot of comedy, a lot of meaningful songs, a lot of meaningful places.
The guest stars include some of music's biggest names, including Willie Nelson, Jimmy Allen, and Dolly's goddaughter, Miley Cyrus. Dolly also sharing the spotlight with Jimmy Fallon, performing their new holiday song.
He sent that to me, though, like in September. I thought, wow, what a great idea for a song. It's almost too early for Christmas because the Halloween decorations are still out and the Christmas haters and all. So he sent me the song, and I just loved it.
This legendary singer has earned endless accolades over the years, and she added another one to the list in early November. Member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Dolly performing a new rock song she wrote for the occasion, but it was a nomination she initially turned down. I wasn't clear whether you were like, well, I don't sing rock and roll, so I don't want to be in there, or if you felt unworthy of something like that. Which
That's
one
what
was
I
it?
felt. I never thought of myself as a rock star. I found out later that they give it to you for if you've influenced other people. I found out more about it. But I had said at the start I didn't want to accept it because I didn't think I'd earned it. And still ain't sure. But I thought, well, they're going to give it to me anyhow. I'm going to accept it gracefully. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a rock album and just make the most of it.
Your husband of 56 years, he loves rock and roll. So is he thrilled that you're doing a rock album?
Well, he's praying for me, I think. I guess he's hoping I can pull it off, but I really think it's some of the best work I've ever done.
Wait. The best work you've ever done?
I think so, only because it's different for me. You know, I wanted it to be good.
The day Dolly was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she received news of a second separate honor, this one from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, to help her continue another passion of hers, giving back.
I said, are you telling me that you're giving me $100 million for my charities? And he said, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. No strings attached, except that it all has to go to, you know, charity. And I started to cry on the phone. I was just thinking of all the great things that I could do for so many needy people. And I just thought, wow, thank you, God.
Who taught you about generosity?
I'm from a faith-based family. My grandpa was a preacher. So when you grow up like that, it's better to give than receive. Although as kids, we loved getting the presents, you know, whatever we got. But I think I just always had a giving spirit, the same as my mom and my dad were just good-hearted country people.
That giving spirit, something guiding her as she rings in 2023. Let's talk New Year's resolutions. What do you have on your list?
Well, I'm like everybody else. You know, you make a bunch of resolutions and you never keep them.
No.
Third weekend of January, that's just all forgotten, you know what I mean? My hopes for the new year is a little more kindness, a little more love, a little more trying to pull together instead of falling apart. I'm going to try my best to try to bring as much joy as I can and lift people up as much as I can in my way. And I just think we all need to try a little harder. I don't care what our politics or our religion or our color or anything else. So that's my personal New Year's resolution, to try a little harder myself, to try to make as much of that happen as I can through songs or through giving or through whatever it may be.
That's just
Wow.
so good.
I think she might be the most beloved person on earth. Just her New Year's resolution was amazing. And by the way, Dolly's also co-hosting a New Year's Eve special with Miley Cyrus. We have so much more on our conversation. She talked about when Loretta Lynn passed and Naomi Judd passed and how she deals with loss, because a lot of people are suffering loss during this holiday time. But she's so uplifting and incredible. Be sure to catch Dolly Parton's Mountain Magic Christmas. It's tonight at 8, 7 Central, right here on NBC. You can stream it on Peacock. And by the way, when Jeff Bezos called her, she thought that he was calling, so he was going to ask her to do like an Amazon commercial. She was like, well, okay. And then she was like, and then he said, have some money. I was like,
my gosh.
yes. Yeah.
That's why she's a national treasure.
She sure is. First of all, Jay, I'm just so happy to be sitting across from you.
Well, thank you. I'm afraid I had to get on fire to be on the Today Show. Thank you.
But I have to say, I was really, as the country was, extremely worried. I mean,
the country was.
People were like, what happened to Jay? What happened to Jay?
Well, people were very nice. I got wonderful cards and letters.
I love the story about how when your doctor was first meeting you, you were in the middle of listening to a voicemail, and it was like, hey, this is Joe from Indonesia. And then your doctor was like, and then I put together who it was.
Yeah, that was President Biden call. That was very nice. That was, I suggest try to have more important things to do, but thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it.
Gee, let's just talk about what happened. So you're doing what you love.
Right.
You're with your babies, all your cars.
Yes.
You're doing your thing. Just tell me what happened that day.
Well, it was a 1907 white steam car. So the fuel line was clogged. So I was underneath it trying to clog, and I said, blow some air through the line, let's see if we can clear. And then a line, and then poof, and suddenly, boom, I got a face full of gas. And then the pilot light jumped and my face caught on fire. And I said to my friend, I said, Dave, I'm on fire. And Dave, okay. I said, no, Dave, I'm on fire.
How long have you guys been buddies? How many years? Thankfully, Jay's longtime pal, Dave Kalaki, was standing just a few feet away.
I couldn't even see his face. He downplays it all, but I'm telling you, he was really engulfed. I couldn't see his face.
It was on fire?
It was a wall of fire.
What was the first thing you did when you saw him engulfed in flames?
I just grabbed him. He was just under the car. I grabbed him by the head and I pulled his head into my chest.
I thought it was a bad Tinder date. I go, what's going on here?
What are you doing? Let Dave talk about how he saved you. Okay, so you kind of brought him into your chest.
I did.
Yeah.
It started to smother the fire.
Yeah.
Then I put the car out.
Yeah.
And I told Jay, go into the bathroom, put cold water on your face. That's when I put the car out, put the fire out. Went into the bathroom to look at Jay, and I said,
what'd you think?
Oh, it was... Like I say, he downplays that, but it was horrific. It was a scary thing. It doesn't take a genius to figure out, call 911. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
How would you describe what he looked like to you?
It was horrible. It was horrible. In fact, he asked me, how do I look? And I think I said, not good. This is going to be a bad thing. As when the first two layers are peeling off right now, you know this is a real issue.
Doctors took one look at Jay and told him he needed to go straight to a burn center. But Jay had other plans.
Yeah, I mean, I drove home right after that.
Wait, you drove yourself home? Why did you decide to go home and stay home for that night?
Well, because my wife doesn't drive anymore, and I didn't want her stuck and not knowing what was going on. It just seemed like the right thing to do, and I think it was.
So you loved your wife more than you worried about yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
was that it?
Well, I think there's something to that.
Jay and wife Mavis have been married for more than 4 decades. What did your wife
say when she saw you?
Oh, thrilled. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but did she say, go to the hospital?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
The couple would spend the next 9 days at the Grossman Burn Center. Doctors had to scrape away layers of burned skin, a painful procedure. But they say Jay never complained. He was more worried about everyone else, sending pizzas to the nurses and cheering up other patients.
Were you worried about what you might look like when it was all said and done?
When you look like me, you don't really worry about what you look like. Luckily, look, if I'm George Clooney, that's going to be a huge problem, you know. But they said it would be all right. So, my attitude is I trust people who are the best to do what they do.
So they had to fix your ear.
Yeah,
Is that a brand new ear?
Well, no. It's just,
A lot
we
of
saved
it.
all the original parts.
So what did they do there?
I guess they remolded it and did something. Apparently, this burns fairly. This is like, I think the doctor told me, this is like the thinnest skin on the body, so it burns pretty.
So that had to be reconstructed.
It's like flash paper. They fixed that.
And then this whole part.
Yeah, this whole thing here, and they put that netting thing on there, and I guess the skin.
What about your hands and fingers?
Well,
Do you have mobility?
as you can see, these got burned pretty bad.
Jay also spent 8 hours a day isolated in a hyperbaric chamber. The pure oxygen helped him heal.
And it's basically a glass coffin. They seal it. There are people who keep an eye on you. So I knock on the glass, and people walk by, and you see people talking, and I'm laughing because I can't get them. It's getting hot in here. And then, oh, hey, what's up, Jay? It just made me laugh because because it's all clear in this glass coffin that's sealed.
Yeah, that's sealed. You're just in there. They're going about their lives, and there you are.
Very funny, very funny.
Were you thinking about something while you were in there?
Well, yeah, you think about jokes, you think about your act, you think about, yeah.
I never thought of myself as a roast comic.
A week and a half after his release, Jay was back doing stand-up with a slew of hot new jokes.
It worked out great. And actually, the most expensive part of the whole operation was the gasoline. We're in California, it's $7 a gallon.
So, jeez, you're so bad. I can't believe this is an interview about your recovery, and this is what it is.
Well, the fact that I have smooth skin, pouty lips, and a tighter butt had nothing to do with the accident. That was all secondary. You know, it's a funny thing. My first night on stage, they played up Jay out. We thought he'd be more burned up. People are disappointed you're not a briquette, you know. They're like, oh.
Well, the Inquirer had you pegged.
Oh yeah, here you go.
Way. What did they say?
Leno's fireball horror. Look at this. Brave TV legend is worse than you think. It turned into a human torch. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to laugh at it. It is kind of funny.
Is this how you get through? Like, this is so remarkable to me.
Yes, it is. But you know something? In the real world, this happens to people every single day. If you work with your hands, people work with their hands, get injured every single day.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be some whiny celebrity. Oh, boo, boo, who is me? I don't want to be one of these people. Oh, I have all these cars and this beautiful house, and look what happened to me. People go, shut up. Yeah.
So I know that working under cars and with cars has always been your happy place, your safe place.
Right.
Do you have now any skittishness?
No. Did I learn from this? Of course not.
I mean,
do you even know what to say?
Could you love him anymore, though? I mean, what an amazing spirit, and his humor. I mean, look, it's working for him.
Everything works for him. I mean, the guy, I was like, when we burn our thumb on a frying pan, we're in total agony. The guy said he didn't take a single pain pill. He said because he wanted to know when he was getting better. He said that was the point of it. And by the way, he got so many flowers and good wishes from tons of celebs, but the ones he loved the most, there was like a guy who sent him a card who said, hey, Jay, you helped me on Canyon Boulevard fix my flat tire. You probably don't remember me, but I just want to make sure that you're doing okay. Like, that's the outpouring of love. And they said they're still getting flowers. Like, Jay's already out and on the road. And the other cool thing was, I don't know if you saw that, very last shot, he was driving. He wanted to drive me in a car. And I was like, okay. So I hop in this car with him. We're driving. And he goes, this car tells a story. I said, what's the story? He said, this was Johnny Carson's dad's car.
What?
Johnny used to buff it when he was a kid. And Johnny drove his prom date to prom in this car. And he gifted it to Jay in his will. So we're we're cruising in this green, I don't even know what it was amazing. But that's what he wanted to talk about. So isn't he unbelievable?
And by the way, thank God for Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
His friend
Well,
David.
he saved his life. And I mean, your friend's on fire and you bring him to you, to your heart, to quench the fire. It's pretty miraculous.
And by the way, Jay's had the same circle of friends for decades. It tells you everything about that guy. And by the way, he's already back on the road. Of
course he is.
And devoted to Mavis. I mean, you can't say enough. He's a lovely human. And I'm so good. I mean, I can't believe how good he looks. What a testament to his doctors, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
He invited you out to LA to try his new material, too, Cleo.
By the way, he's still everything is a joke. I almost couldn't get him to talk about life because he was like, anyway, he's going to be back on the air on CNBC's Jay Leno's Garage 5 days a week. He's got a comedy game show, You Bet Your Life. He's busy. That keeps him going.
That was an awesome interview. I could have watched 3 hours of that. That was awesome, Hoda. Thank you.
I'm glad you're better, Jay.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.